Hello Mask Fanatics, and welcome once again to the Mask Fan Attic, where we look for interesting old Halloween masks for all you Halloween enthusiasts and monster fans and horror collectors and mask collectors. Interesting old masks that you might not find at your local Halloween landfill or whatever because they're older ones, but you might find them online or from private sources like that. So you never know what might turn up here in the Mask Fan Attic. Like tonight, a really rare one. Aren't many of these, kids. I believe there were only about 24 of these, I would guess, ever produced. And then the mold went the way of all flesh. The mold is no longer with us. But this is of interest because it is sculpted by none other than Carol Hicks, who in later years sculpted some pretty famous, pretty well-loved editions, like a licensed old age Boris Karloff mask and a licensed Dwight Fry Renfield mask and a lot of other really wonderful mask editions. This was Carol's first attempt ever. This was her first sculpture, and it was called Lorac, which is Carol spelled backwards, and I named it that because I'm kind of a dork. This is from the mid-80s, I believe 1984, and again there were only a couple dozen made, but some of them did go to costume shops, because at that time costume shops in Ohio were buying masks that I was making pretty cheaply and selling entirely too cheaply. And anyway, most of them ended up in costume shops around Ohio, Columbus and Cleveland and Toledo and so forth. Now old Lorac here, Carol's first sculpture, was kind of a, as you can see, kind of a lizard, and we didn't know what to do with the back half. It was just sculpted as a front half, like a be-something mask.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, makes a good puppet too, by the way. Did I mention that?
No, you didn't.
Oh, well, it does. It makes a good puppet.
Thank you.
Okay. Lorac here, not to be confused with Dr. Seuss's Lorax. Does Dr. Seuss, doesn't he have a character named Lorax? That would be Zerol backwards, and that doesn't mean anything, but this was Carol backwards. It was Lorac. Anyway, Lorac was sculpted as just a front half because that's all I knew how to do at the time, and Carol wanted to try her hand at it, and I hadn't made any two-piece full-head molds yet back in 1984, and Carol sculpted this as her first effort, and it was an original design. It was just something she came up with. We didn't know what to do with the back of it because it didn't look like it would have hair, so we put the plush fabric hood in the manner of the Be-Something skulls and warlocks and fang face and things like that that were available at the time. That's what it got. Hood made by Laura Lady, by the way. And well, it had little snaps here, little snaps that you can you know, sort of button it together under your chin, and it also had, I don't know if you can see it, it also had an elastic strap that held it in place, and the snaps and the nice hood, and it was kind of a deluxe mask, but again, very rare, and Carol's first attempt at sculpting. And oddly enough, there's a movie made way back in the 70s, directed by Armando de Osorio, the same director who made the great Blind Dead movies. He made a movie called In the Grasp of the Lorelei, or just The Lorelei's Grasp, known in the American English dubbed prints a lot of times as When the Screaming Stops. Now, the Lorelei's Grasp, aka When the Screaming Stops, has a monster in it that looks a heck of a lot like this character. It's a green lizard wearing a black hood, and it has a wide mouth like this, and just totally coincidence. So this kind of looks like that monster. But anyway, pretty rare. You're not likely to find it unless you live in Ohio, but I know there are a lot of Carol Hicks fans out there, and for you folks, I thought you might be interested in seeing her very first attempt ever at making a latex mask, and that was it. And that was it, and that was that.